The long-awaited Boruto timeskip has finally arrived with Boruto Chapter 81. We now have the timeskip designs for Boruto, Kawaki, and even Sarada, as well as the official name for the second part of the Boruto series, Boruto Two Blue Vortex. Let's dive into it. Today I'm going to discuss the plot of the timeskip. We look at Boruto's return to Konoha, when it happens, why it happens, and how it unfolds. I will also talk about Sarada, her new design, and what her role will be in Konoha amidst all the chaos. Plus I will share my ideas on Boruto Chapter 81. I still can't believe the timeskip is finally here, and with it, the weekly Boruto content on the channel is back. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. As we have learned from the Boruto timeskip, at some point Boruto will return to Konoha. We've seen him fighting against Kawaki with Konoha completely in ruins. So there must be a reason why Boruto will return to Konoha despite the fact that he was essentially exiled. Firstly, we're still unsure about the true plot of Boruto. It reminds me of the original series where the first part mainly introduced characters who set up the plot, slightly hinted at the Akatsuki organization, and generally paved the way for future villains in the series. I think a similar scenario is unfolding here. Obviously it's not about Kara, but everything else that's happening. It's clear to me that Kawaki won't be the main villain either. It's a clear Sasuke situation. There are a few potential secondary main villains already, although I suspect the true main villain will be a surprise, much like it was with Madara or even Kaguya. Possible secondary main villains could include individuals like Shibai Otsutsuki or other Otsutsukis like the two missing ones. Or perhaps even Kaguya again, although I seriously doubt that, as she seems way too weak. And of course there could be characters who aren't necessarily the strongest but are still dangerous, like Kabuto, Orochimaru, or Amado. We shouldn't overlook the scientists in any of the Shonen Jump series. They are typically the ones who cause a lot of problems at some point, then either become the main villain or expect the main characters to clean up their mess. So let's keep that in mind. I don't see Code becoming a main villain either, or even staying a villain until the end. He will either join the fight against the main villain or lose his life in the second part. But in my opinion, his character doesn't seem to be heading towards death. After all, he's just a victim as well, just like Kawaki. There's more potential there. He will need to fully transform into Otsutsuki to keep up with the rising power levels. I also can't see him earning respect from any real Otsutsuki who are much stronger than him, even much stronger than Ishiki. So if a main villain threatens Earth, Code will have no other choice but to side with the humans, and will actually be a necessary force. But as I have mentioned, it's also possible he could fall in a war with his Ten-Tails army, for example. The fact that there's a Sharingan army and a Ten-Tailed army should be a pretty big clue to a huge upcoming war, whether they will be on the same side against an Otsutsuki invasion or an opposite side for whatever reason. Furthermore, Momoshiki is likely to become something similar to his second Kurama. Being stuck with a kid for 3-4 years can create a bond whether you want it or not. To make a long story short, I don't think the scene we saw from the timeskip is connected to the main plot of Boruto in terms of who the main villain is. Therefore, Boruto's return to Konoha will most likely be tied to Kawaki alone, or perhaps Kawaki will join forces with the main villain for some reason. This could involve the destruction of the shinobi world. Maybe an Otsutsuki wants to stop humans from becoming more like Otsutsukis, and potentially becoming a real threat to the Otsutsuki world. I mean, we already have a fake Otsutsuki trying to become an Otsutsuki god, disregarding any Otsutsuki rules or laws, if those exist. He only cares about Ishiki. Then we have two humans who became Otsutsukis by defeating real Otsutsukis. They could easily reproduce half Otsutskis, and we all know what happened last time that occurred. One of them even plans the destruction of the Otsutsuki world. This can certainly be combined with the possible plans of other Otsutskis who may currently be planning the destruction of Earth, due to their behavior towards other Otsutskis who have harvested the planet. Of course, this will also be short-term collaboration, as Kawaki definitely does not want to work with Otsutskis. We need to keep in mind one crucial point here. The more high-level Otsutsuki transformations take place on Earth, the more Otsutskis will be attracted to it, and they will be more powerful than the ones we saw already. Just think about how many planets Momoshiki has harvested in his lifetime. Consider also the number of planets that all the other Otsutskis who lost their lives on Earth have harvested. Their death is similar to a process of energy conversion. Their chakra doesn't just vanish. It remains on Earth. It either becomes part of someone else or simply the planet. So at this point, Earth probably holds the value of hundreds of high-level chakra planets. Maybe thousands or 100,000s. In fact, I believe it could be the richest planet in the entire universe. And this will only keep growing, drawing the attention of all the Otsutsukis in existence. They might start wondering, why are we sending our brothers and sisters to the planet without them ever coming back? There are the two unknown Otsutsukis, Kaguya, Ishiki, and then Kinshiki. Now I do believe Kinshiki could actually come back, as I highly doubt he didn't leave a karma behind before Momoshiki absorbed him. So in theory, he could even be the one who informs other Otsutsukis to come. But it doesn't change the fact that his chakra stays within Momoshiki, and with it within Boruto and so on Earth. Then there's Shibai, who supposedly ascended to a higher dimension, though we don't know for sure. This fact alone makes Earth a very important planet. Why didn't Shibai harvest the Earth? He could even be one of the unknown Otsutsukis, and the other might even be his daughter if Shibai is, for example, Amado. And of course there's Urashiki. You see, it's a matter of time before the royal family of the Otsutsuki clan, if such a family exists, will come to Earth. In fact, if I remember correctly, Kaguya was even getting ready for a full invasion because of the sins she committed. This probably confirms that there's an Otsutsuki law. Boruto, Kawaki, and Code have no idea how to behave. They must have some kind of code of conduct that they, especially Kawaki, will obviously ignore. Moreover, they aren't aware of any laws to begin with, so naturally they are likely to break several rules if they haven't done so already. For instance, murdering another Otsutsuki. I can't even imagine that the Otsutsuki court or royal family might not offer them another opportunity, choosing instead to sentence them to death. They could simply come to Earth and announce the violation of laws and the subsequent punishment. They might even suggest an official open war aimed at demolishing the planet, with the purpose of taking back the chakra Boruto and Kawaki stole. In fact, the entire planet stole. Remember that it is not just the chakra of a few Otsutsuki, but hundreds or thousands or even hundreds of thousands of harvested planets. Just as Momoshiki stood above Kinshiki and was allowed to absorb him along with all the chakra he harvested, there are others who have the right to absorb Momoshiki whenever they want. In fact, we don't know which rank Kinshiki belonged to or how many ranks were below him. He might have absorbed someone who in turn absorbed someone else, and maybe within Kinshiki there were already hundreds of thousands of planets. So we have no idea how much chakra Momoshiki has inside him. In this regard, one could say that there could be some very high Otsutsuki who could believe that because of all the chakra on Earth that comes 100% without exception from Otsutsukis, the planet of human beings legally belongs to the Otsutskis. In this context, an official announcement will be necessary since the Otsutskis themselves must follow laws. They probably can only start a war against other Otsutsuki if some laws have been violated. As stated earlier, these laws surely exist, as Kaguya herself implied when she committed one of the greatest sins. Boruto and Kawaki have essentially done the same thing and have become Otsutskis themselves. So the same punishment must apply to them as well. It's like an endless cycle that one can't escape unless they die or wipe out all the Otsutsuki. For example, there might be a rule that an Otsutsuki can only exist if they contribute to some sort of tax every so often. This could involve harvesting planets to give a portion of the chakra to their king, queen, or god, or whatever. This is exactly why I think the main story will be about a full war between the humans and the Otsutsuki clan, which again fits well with Kawaki's goal to wipe out every single Otsutsuki in the universe. The question is, how far will he go to achieve his goal? After all, I think most of the powerful and ancient clans came from Kaguya. In fact, all people with chakra should in theory be descendants of Kaguya, which again fits with the time skip scene where Kawaki says that the era of the shinobi, which started with Kaguya sharing her chakra, is over. However, all this doesn't explain why and when Boruto will come back to Konoha and how, unless Kawaki attempts to draw him out by destroying everything. However, I actually think Boruto might return to Konoha much sooner, right after the time skip when he's become so strong that no one can challenge him. He could show up, declare war, or simply decide not to leave because of his immense power, which could force Kawaki Kawaki to harvest planets to become stronger than Boruto again. There are countless possibilities in this scenario. We know that Boruto can hide his chakra, so he won't have any trouble getting into Konoha to begin with. He could also change his appearance. Konoha is welcoming travelers, at least before the time skip. We don't know what Kawaki did to Konoha. But in any case, I think we can certainly expect Boruto to come back right after the time skip. Not openly, of course, but maybe to connect with, for example, Sarada. Or maybe even because of Sasuke. We are unsure how Sasuke is viewed in Konoha at this time. There are two possibilities. Either everyone thinks Boruto killed Sasuke, making life easier for Sarada in Konoha. Or because the others saw Sasuke saving Boruto, Sasuke might be seen as a traitor. He could even be considered the mastermind behind everything. They could pin everything on him, saying he's always wanted to destroy the world, that he never forgave Naruto for defeating him, and so on. So while he was away from Konoha, he met Boruto and plotted to kill Naruto by telling Boruto to casually make contact with Konoha. Remember, right now Boruto is seen in the same light as Kawaki in the past, and Kawaki is Naruto's son, Kawaki Uzumaki. Anyway, this suggests that Sasuke probably can't return, meaning Boruto, with his ability to hide his chakra, is the only one who can talk to Sarada. We know that Sarada is one of the secret keepers, so she's crucial. There has to be some contact at some point. Of course, we could also guess that Boruto might start some sort of group, similar to Akatsuki, and they will send people to Sarada instead, perhaps under the disguise of being travelers. So that's more or less the idea behind how Boruto and Sarada will get back in touch at some point. Let's talk about Sarada. Her style seems to mimic Boruto's, which I believe symbolizes two things. First, it displays her rebellion against the belief that Boruto is the bad guy. After Boruto was forced to leave Konoha, she decided to symbolically become Boruto, keeping his spirit alive. I can envision her personality growing to become more like Boruto's. I can even see a possibility where she might abandon her dream of becoming the Hokage. But I'm not totally sure about that right now. Fundamentally, I think she's going to stir up a lot of problems. Her resemblance to Boruto, from her hairstyle to her clothes, is obviously meant to be provocative. I believe the second symbolism behind the design is love, particularly the necklace she wears. It's as if hers and Boruto's belong to each other, fitting the idea that Sarada awakened her Mangekyo or Sharingan purely out of love for Boruto. Lastly, we shouldn't overlook the high probability that there will be a handful of individuals who will be privy to the secret, and hold regular secret meetings, with Sarada likely being their leader within Konoha. So what do you think of my timeskip prediction? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like, and if you want to see more Boruto content from now on every week, then subscribe to this channel with the notification bell activated. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.